big homie wanted to look like a gay painter.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies came rolling in.
The image of Jay-Z as the untouchable, corporate philosopher of hip-hop has been carefully curated for decades. He's the man who moved from the Marcy Projects to the mahogany boardrooms of the NFL and LVMH. But according to 50 Cent, that polished exterior hides a gatekeeper who allegedly uses his executive pen to settle old scores from the recording booth. For years, 50 has positioned himself as the ultimate disruptor, the man who refuses to play the industry game. But this latest escalation isn't just about a social media jab, it's a direct challenge to Jay-Z's legacy. 50 isn't just calling him a rival, he's calling him a strategic manipulator who allegedly leveraged a marriage to Beyonce into a collection of Grammy trophies. This is a battle for the very soul of hip-hop's Mount Rushmore. It's a question of whether Jay-Z is a brilliant businessman, or, as 50 suggests, a man who uses corporate shields to avoid the smoke he once invited on the streets of Brooklyn.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I just
Threatened?
Yeah,
Possibly?
not even threatened. You know, I think it's just when you take the competition from like our culture is competitive, man.
Right.
It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand.
To understand the gravity of these claims, you have to understand the magnitude of the Super Bowl stage. It is the single most valuable 15 minutes in American entertainment. When Roc Nation took the reins of the halftime show in 2019, Jay-Z wasn't just a consultant, he became the architect of hip-hop's institutional validation. 50 Cent's allegation that Jay-Z reportedly told Dr. Dre he didn't want 50 on that stage paints a picture of a Cold War moving into the executive suite. If true, it suggests that despite the billions of dollars and global acclaim, the competitive fire from the 1990s never actually went out. Publicly, Jay-Z maintains a monastic silence, rarely acknowledging his critics. But 50 Cent claims that behind that silence is a series of phone calls and contract clauses designed to edit 50 out of the history books. It creates a fascinating dynamic. Jay-Z, the emperor who controls the gates, versus 50 Cent, the gladiator who refuses to be left outside. According to reports, it took an ultimatum from Eminem, the man who famously said he wouldn't do the show without 50, to break the alleged blockade. This raises the question, in an industry built on power moves, where does business end and personal petty begin?
Why do you think that is?
Well, I just
Threatened? Possibly?
not even threatened. You know, I think it's just when you take the competition from like our culture is competitive, man. It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand.
The narrative of Jay-Z as the shadow gatekeeper reached a fever pitch when the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show was announced for New Orleans. When Kendrick Lamar was selected over hometown hero Lil Wayne, the internet didn't just see a creative choice, they saw a pattern. 50 Cent's previous claims suddenly became the blueprint for every disgruntled fan's theory. According to public sources and online reactions, there is a growing segment of the culture that believes Jay-Z is using his NFL partnership to reward allies and punish those who didn't fall in line. While there is no concrete proof that Jay-Z personally blocked Lil Wayne, the silence from Roc Nation has allowed the speculation to fester. 50 Cent has leaned into this, framing himself as the only person brave enough to call out the king. But is this reality, or is it just the 50 Cent marketing machine at work? Critics of 50 point out that he has been trolling Jay-Z since 1999's How to Rob. They argue that 50 needs this conflict to maintain his rebel persona, while Jay-Z is simply making the best business decisions for a global brand. Regardless of the truth, the pattern has become a cultural talking point that Jay-Z's no-comment policy might no longer be able to contain.
Past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. Like right now, he's not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5, and you still competing. It just don't make sense. Like, what are we competing for them?
This is where the beef moves from the streets to the stratosphere. By targeting the Grammys, 50 Cent is attacking the very foundation of Jay-Z's greatest of all time status. He isn't just saying Jay-Z isn't a good rapper. He's implying that Jay-Z's entire mogul era is a product of high-level PR and a powerful matrimonial alliance. The statistics 50 points to are fascinating, even if his interpretation is controversial. The fact that the vast majority of Jay-Z's accolades came during his boardroom era suggests to 50 that the industry is rewarding the man, not the music. He contrasts this with the raw energy of artists like Tupac, or even himself, who he feels were often overlooked by the suits for being too difficult to manage. But there's a deeper irony here. Both Jay-Z and 50 Cent are masters of narrative. While Jay-Z tells a story of ascension and excellence, 50 tells a story of perseverance and truth-telling. As we look at the Super Bowl drama and the Grammy theories, we are seeing the final stage of a 25-year rivalry. Two men who started with nothing, now fighting over who gets to tell the definitive story of hip-hop's golden age. Whether you see Jay-Z as a visionary or a gatekeeper, and whether you see 50 as a truth-teller or a troll, one thing is certain: the tension between them is the most expensive beef in music history. This rivalry has evolved from a 1999 diss track to a 2025 boardroom battle. 50 Cent continues to apply pressure, while Jay-Z maintains his legendary Hove mystique. But as the allegations regarding the Super Bowl and industry gatekeeping grow louder, the culture remains divided. Was the reaction to 50 Cent's Super Bowl inclusion fair, or was the alleged block a justified business move? Let us know in the comments below.
When you look at the sheer scale of this friction, it's clear we aren't just witnessing a disagreement between two rappers. We're watching a fundamental clash of ideologies regarding how a black man should operate once he reaches the pinnacle of American capitalism. 50 Cent's persistent campaign against Jay-Z's public image is essentially an attempt to deconstruct the Hove mythos, the idea that you can be both a product of the streets and a flawless corporate deity. By labeling Jay-Z's more experimental, mature work as golf course music, 50 isn't just critiquing the Sonics. He is allegedly accusing Jay of abandoning the very demographic that fueled his rise in favor of a high society acceptance that 50 finds inherently performative. This perspective suggests a deep-seated cultural anxiety, the fear that as our idols ascend into the billionaire class, they become insulated by layers of public relations, security, and corporate interests, eventually becoming unreachable to the very culture they represent. This insulation is exactly what 50 Cent reportedly aims to pierce. Every meme, every interview snippet, and every mention of the Beyoncé factor serves as a calculated strike against that protective layer. Public reactions to this constant pressure have created a fascinating divide in the digital age. On one side, you have the legacy defenders, who argue that Jay-Z's evolution is the ultimate blueprint for success, proving that an artist can grow out of the chaos of their youth and into a position of genuine institutional power. To them, Jay-Z's silence is his greatest weapon. It's the poise of a king who refuses to acknowledge a juster. But on the other side, a growing dissident class of fans finds 50's transparency refreshing. They see a world where executive decisions are made in the shadows, where gatekeeping is a very real barrier to entry for the next generation of independent-minded creators. The fallout of this ongoing Cold War has shifted the way we view hip-hop's executive landscape. It has forced the audience to look past the glitz of the halftime show or the prestige of the Grammys and ask uncomfortable questions about who truly holds the keys to the kingdom. If the allegations regarding the Super Bowl are even partially rooted in reality, it implies that the boardroom has become the new battleground, where the weapons aren't bars, but the ability to grant or deny access to the global stage. This realization carries a heavy irony. The same genre that was built on inclusion and giving a voice to the voiceless has, in its most commercialized form, allegedly adopted the same exclusionary tactics it once fought against. Ultimately, this tension serves as a mirror for the industry itself. It highlights a transition from the era of street credibility to the era of corporate legacy. While Jay-Z has successfully transitioned into a figure of quiet, immense gravity, moving moves in silence like the last G in Lasagna, 50 Cent remains the loudest voice in the room, ensuring that the history of this era isn't written solely by the victors. This isn't just about who sold more records in 2003 anymore. It's about whose philosophy will define the future of the entertainment business. One seeks to build a fortress of prestige and mystery, while the other seeks to tear down the walls and show the world exactly how the machinery works. As long as these two paths exist, the friction between the emperor and the gladiator will remain the most compelling documentary unfolding in real time. It is a story of power, the price of entry, and the refusal to let a rival have the final word on what it means to be a legend. And don't go anywhere.
Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.